let's do this. NOFX in their album, Double Album. This is believed to be the group's final record since singer-bassist Fat Mike announced they would be breaking up in 2023 after 40 years. Tyler and I reviewed the previous record, Single Album, which served as the first part of a double album. I recall you were taken back by Mike's like personal and sometimes shocking lyrics, and also you felt Avenged Sevenfold was underused on the song Linoleum.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked the ambition they used, and the album made my top 10 list that year. So Lauren, have you actually heard NOFX before?
Yes. When I used to hang out and skateboard after school, there was a bunch of kids that liked NOFX.
What'd you think of NOFX in the 90s?
I did not like them in the 90s.
Yeah.
I like the more underground shit. Like I love the Dead Kennedys.
So I've been listening to NOFX for decades and seen them in concert several times. We even did a ranking of their first 13 albums, which you can actually watch on our YouTube channel. So I'm sure the fans really want to know my opinion of the group's swan song. Let's hear everyone else's thoughts first. Lauren, what do you think of this album?
When I saw that this album was called Double Album, I thought it was going to be long and I was so pissed off. But I was so thrilled when I saw it was only 26 minutes long because I did not like it very much because I don't really like them or their music. I am not going to lie, though. There was a couple of things here and there, like Don't Count on Me. When it first started, I thought it was a ballad. And then it just turned into like this really mean fucking song that was so funny. Like, yo, bro, like, I know we're friends and all, but if you're in a bind, I ain't your fucking dude. Like, I thought that was hilarious. I was also surprised. I didn't know they had like reggae influence. The whole album was what I expected. It's what I knew of them, what I anticipated of them. I didn't know it was going to be their last album ever. Maybe it's time.
Tyler, so since you heard the last album, this is your second NOFX album. What'd you think?
It was great. It has that American punk rock vibe that you come to know and expect. And I definitely got a little bit more out of it after I checked out some of the interview quotes from the frontman. Having that kind of context and insight, it just makes me like this album even more.
Okay. I hate to break it to everybody, but much like the last album, some of these songs were previously released in some cases with different lyrics or a different sound. That's kind of a bummer for people that want to hear new stuff for their last album. But let's get into it. Darby Crashing Your Party starts the album off. I thought he had a great bass tap intro that you would expect from Fat Mike. It's another NOFX song with references to like old legendary punk rockers, so Fat Mike can prove how punk he is, which is important when you're in your mid-50s. I can say the same thing for the song Punk Rock Cliche. It's a slower rhythm in the verses, but has a bit of speed in the chorus, some brief organ slashed in. And I think the most interesting thing about this song is he actually wrote this song for Blink-182 back when Matt Skiba was in the band. But the band found out it was written by Fat Mike. They immediately dropped it from the album. I don't know why, but Fat Mike still to this day that the Blink-182 version of this song is better than this one. But I think the most daring thing on this project, Don't Count on Me and Joanna Constantine. And it's always welcome for the fans to hear guitarist Eric Melvin shouting some lyrics in like his traditional Mel Yell voice. I thought it was a nice placement of those like doo-wop-esque like backing vocals. But I think what I like is the way the song has that reggae part. El Jefe does the lead vocals when his part comes in. But at some point in the song, it goes right into Joanna Constantine. So if you're not watching, you won't know what happens. Because Don't Count on Me, quote unquote, ends. Then it gets to like his part. And then like halfway through, it switches to the other song. Did you guys notice that?
It was definitely very abrupt. to the point where you couldn't really tell the first listen
Yeah,
through.
I definitely wasn't able to distinguish right away.
I must admit, like the unorthodox transition was way better than the actual song itself. What did you guys think of that song? Is it too soon?
I felt like it was an unnecessary attack against Stephen Hawking.
You gotta take
all right.
Stephen Hawking's
So,
down.
I literally wrote this song feels like an attack, thinking he's not disabled, but just lazy. It's a bit tasteless.
He's all sitting there high and mighty, or should I say low and weak. You gotta take that guy down a peg, even though he's been dead like for a few years. But in the band's defense, the song was written like maybe before he died, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
He's so lazy, he could only write a brief history of time. He may be smart, but to me, he's a creepy narcoleptic mime. The song Three Against Me was originally on the soundtrack to Fat Mike's musical Home Street Home. And on there, it's a somber, gut-wrenching piano ballad, but the lyrics are slightly different. And the abusive sibling rivalry theme is the same. This has like NOFX's signature punk rock that we've come to love. And despite the familiarity, this is a standout track. What do you think of Three Against Me, Lauren?
It's the sound I expected. To me, the quintessential what I know of them, what I anticipate of them.
Do you feel anything you can relate to the lyrics?
No, I didn't absorb enough lyrically to have any relatability.
What we talked about before in the last album is Mike really gets open and personal about his past, especially his drug use, which is apparent on the track Day 6, detailing his week in rehab and how the 6th day was the hardest. Really dark bluesy bass intro. I thought was cool before it becomes a standard NOFX sound after the chorus. And what I learned about this song is I think when you want to quit opiates, you should only stop for 5 days. What'd you think of that song, Tyler?
Just that opening line in itself, pissing a rainbow, it made me giggle a little bit because I'm like, I see you pee and I get it. But also it was pretty quick for me, surprisingly, to pick up, oh, this has like a rehab connotation to the song.
Speaking of drug use, the album ends with the song Gone with the Heroin. And I'm not sure if this is like about drugs or a dominatrix named Scarlett O'Heroin or both. But Melvin takes the lead vocals on this one, giving us like a break from Mike's like nasally voice. And I thought it was an okay closer. What'd you think, Lauren?
Yeah, again, like for what my anticipation was, like it tied it together. It was the nice little bow to finish off the whole package.
Well, like Lauren said, we got 10 tracks, like under half an hour. Any other songs you guys want to talk about before we get to Lauren's final thoughts and rating?
No.
Okay. So Lauren, final thoughts and rating of this album. Go.
It's what I expected. If you like, certain genres of music and the consistent production of the same kind of stuff in said genre of music, then this is for you. This is not my favorite kind of genre. I would urge people that like it to definitely download this. You can do that if you want to, but it's not for me. So for me, I'm going to skip it.
Okay. Tyler, your second NOFX album. What do you think?
Some of their lyrics still get me. I will admit that. Second time through with these guys. They're definitely starting to wear on me. I'm sorry that this is like their like magnum opus, their last album, their crescendo. Damn, what a shame. But 40 years, what a great run, I suppose. It has this energy and this tone that, yeah, it's a little ass backwards, but you know what? I can still kind of dig it from time to time. I'm giving it a high download this because you know what? I had a fucking fantastic time with this album.
All right. Well, I wish I could share your enthusiasm. No matter how the band slices it, this is just a bunch of B-sides. It's barely complements the single album that we reviewed, and it definitely isn't the final studio album that the fans deserve. But I think back to the song 60% from the Wolves in Wolves Clothing album when he says, I'm not here to entertain you. We only give about 60 or so percent. And even on here with the song My Favorite Enemy, when he says, I just end up doing whatever the I want. Fat Mike has made it clear the band isn't putting any effort into pleasing anyone but themselves. And with that in mind, maybe it's a good thing that they realize this apathetic joke they've become has run its course, and it's time to hang up the Cokie the Clown shoes. This album is a short listenable record that's more of a disappointing anticlimactic fart. So I give this album the lowest of download this. And I say to that, no effects, more like no effort.
Like and subscribe, folks.